Hi friends, what's on the menu tonight? Chicken and cheese enchiladas, and I've got a great recipe. I think it's going to wow your family and friends. My family loves this recipe, and we have it on the rotation quite often, and I'm going to share it with you today. So stay tuned and let's go in the kitchen and get cooking. When I'm making enchiladas, I use a bag of Mexican blend. It's a 4 cheese Mexican blend. And then I like to add a little extra cheddar cheese. So here I'm using a sharp cheddar cheese. You can also use a white cheddar cheese. It doesn't matter so much there. But I'm also slicing up some queso fresco. That's a nice, a little bit salty, soft, crumbly uh, type of Mexican cheese, and that tastes great in enchiladas. Just go ahead, like I said, slice that up thin, and it really crumbles up a lot, and that's okay. And then I use about 1/4 of a white onion. You can use white, yellow, sweet. That doesn't matter so much. Um, Gave that a rough chop, and then I just put it in my mini chopper to get it to a fine texture. That way we're not biting into any big bites of onion. I think that just makes the filling a lot nicer when you don't have the big chunks of onion. And then I just chop up a few extra things in my mini chopper to add to my filling, like chipotle chili peppers, which you'll see in a moment here. So sometimes I add a little extra veggies or something. I have black olives I need to use up, so I'm going to chop some of those up um, to add to my enchiladas. It's something you don't have to do. If you don't like olives, leave that part out, but I wanted to use up what I had, so instead of wasting it. Put those and get those ready. Probably like a 1/4 cup. And then I only have one more thing to chop up is the ancho chili. So here's another thing that I don't always put in my enchiladas, but a lot of times I do. Is these chipotles and peppers in adobo sauce. So they're pretty spicy. So I don't use too many. I'm making one large batch of enchiladas. Um, Hopefully for a couple of dinners. So I probably will just put like half of this can. Yeah, let's do half because this will be spicy. It'll be too spicy for me to enjoy if I put any more. But I'll do like a little bit of the heat and a whole lot of flavor. So let's get those chopped up. Put them on puree because I want it to incorporate in the sauce. I don't want to have big chunks of it. So that's pretty good. Let you get a look at that. See how it's chopped up. Let's take a look just to make sure there's no real big pieces. Maybe like a couple little big pieces. Let's put it in there one more time. Love that mini chopper. Makes everything fast and quick. All right. So I don't think I need that anymore. I'm to make up my spice mix for these, and you can buy packets already of seasoning for enchiladas, but it's nice when you can adjust it to the flavors you like. So I'm going to use about 1 teaspoon of salt, some fresh cracked black pepper. I have used the packs before, but I found I like preparing my own spice blend. But if you're in a rush, it's okay. All right, so let's use a teaspoon of smoked paprika. I can open this little spot. Let's take the whole lid off. Smoked paprika. There's paprika and then there's a smoked paprika. I buy regular sweet paprika, but I'm gonna a whole teaspoon of that. I prefer the smoked. And then we're gonna use a teaspoon of chili powder. And this is kind of heavily spiced because you want it to incorporate in all your fillings. So I'm gonna use a teaspoon and a half of ground cumin. I love that flavor. And I'm gonna use a 1/4 teaspoon of oregano leaves. If I had ground oregano, I think I would. I don't have any today. And you don't want to use too much. There is a Mexican oregano, and I haven't had it in a while, so I can't even remember what the difference was, if there is any. So then I have some ancho chili pepper ground, and I'm only going to use a 1/4 teaspoon of that. Don't need much, and that might have been even too much, but I'm making a large batch. So let's put these away, and we'll have more space here. And there we go. And let's just give it a little mix. I have a little tiny whisk I usually use to get this nice, but it doesn't really matter so much. All right, I think we're getting closer. We can cook up our chicken. I'm gonna put a little coconut oil in here to cook my chicken. I got boneless chicken, thin sliced boneless chicken breast. You can use tenders, which I usually use tenders, but I can't believe when I was at the store the other day, they didn't have tenders, so. But this will work, so let's melt that. I'm gonna go get my apron because this will probably splatter. And enchiladas probably is a dish you really should wear your apron. So we're gonna be opening up those cans of sauce, and I want to get it on your clothes. All right, so let's get that meat out. This is definitely a go-to dish for our family. I have it on a regular rotation. It's so yummy, and you can make enough ahead that maybe you'll get 2 nights, depending on how big your family is. If you're eating for uh, if you're eating for 2, then it's going to go a lot longer. Whole family. I know my kids growing up, I'd have 1 enchilada or maybe 2 because they're kind of filling. There is a lot in. Sometimes I change it up. Sometimes I'll add some veggies in it too. There's so many variations you can make this. So yeah, just basically got boneless, skinless chicken breast strips. Well, I guess they are kind of like tenders. I don't know what I was talking about. Maybe I'm thinking of last week. I bought a patch of they were like thin fillets. So this is gonna work perfect. Perfect. See, these are a little bit bigger, but than chicken strips. That's kind of what I was thinking of, but there's some that are smaller. Yeah. Let's see what we can get in here. If I can get them all in. Might have to adjust it a little bit. You can make enchiladas with, you can use ground beef. That's what you like. I'm not that big of a fan of ground beef enchiladas. My favorite is cheese enchiladas, a cheese and a veggie enchilada. That's one of my favorites. And then chicken and cheese. So I'm going to do chicken because my husband's job, he walks so much on his job. So he needs the protein. He walks like 15 miles a day in his job. It's like crazy. But he's getting in shape, that's for sure. So let me wash my hands after touching that raw chicken. And we're going to get to seasoning that. And I probably will use this whole amount because it's a whole pack. And we're going to be putting our onions, and we want it to have a strong flavor. Yeah. I'm going to do it on the one side, then I'm going to flip it over and do it on the other. So I have this on a medium heat, and I'll cook that. It'll only take a few minutes to cook that up. And I'll set that aside on a plate, and then I'll saute my onion till they're just tender so that you don't have a big bite of onion, but you got the flavor. So let's cook this up. Okay, those are pretty much cooked up. So now I'm going to um, put those on a plate and just cook up those onions. That won't take much time at all. Remember, you don't have to, be careful not to overcook the chicken because it is going to be baking in the oven too. But you do want to coat it with the seasoning and give it a little saute or fry. It's not really frying, but I just want to get all that chicken so that doesn't burn up. I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to cut that up little bite-sized pieces. And I think I need a little bit more oil to saute the onion. Like a tablespoon coconut oil. You don't have to use coconut oil. Let's get those a saute. And we're going to pull up all that flavor from the bottom of the pan. Smells wonderful. Let's let that cool down before we try to cut that. So what I'll do now is I'll just open all my cans that we're going to be using. So it's a mixture. I've got a mixture here, and I'll show you what I'm going to do. So I've got a couple of cans of enchilada sauce. I prefer the mild, so this is both mild. I don't know that I'm going to use all this, but I always have plenty on hand because sometimes I adjust it a little. Then I'm going to use this one can of fire roasted diced tomatoes with green chilies in there. And I'm going to use a can of gluten-free cream of chicken soup. So all I had on hand was the cream of chicken, or the gluten-free. It doesn't have to be gluten-free, but if you wanted to make this a gluten-free meal, you certainly can. Just your tortillas, you're not going to use regular flour tortillas. You're going to use corn tortillas. So that's one way to. And I pretty much still have this on medium low. I'm going to turn it up to a little bit higher. Get those sauteing. You can see the onions, they've kind of turned the color of the seasoning. So let's get these cans open. I've been making enchiladas for years and tried different techniques. So I'll show you a technique that I use most of the time. Every once in a while, I'll change it up a little. I have tried to just not do it this particular way, but I find my family and myself, we like it this pretty much way. I probably should have opened that big can and because I know I'm going to use that whole big can. Well, let's go ahead and do it. I'm committed now. I can freeze up if I don't use it all. Just freeze it. So ahead of time, I shredded some extra cheese. I shredded the cheddar and the queso fresco. And I already have 1 pack of mixed, like a Mexican blend cheddar. So these are sauteing nicely. So let's go ahead and add our ancho chilies. Now, if you do not like spicy at all, you can leave these out. But it does give you a whole different nice smoky and a little bit of a spicy flavor. So if your family likes that, they're gonna like that. You run some water in here. Let's get those cooked up. Woo! That'll open your sinuses a little bit. It's kind of weird with these ancho chili peppers. Don't know if anybody else experiences it. It's like a love-hate relationship. Not quite that strong. But I love the flavor of them, but I don't like the heat. But we're putting enough stuff in these that'll cool down. And of course, a good dollop of sour cream on top of your finished enchilada. That will cool it down. Have a little bit of guacamole. That's what I'm talking about. Some rice. There you go. You got your own Mexican food right home. American and Mexican, right? All right. So I think that's pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and add my black peppers. Or black olives. I have made this with peppers, green peppers, red peppers, yellow, orange. When I make a vegetarian one, zucchini. Oh my gosh, that's great, right? But I was just saying, try to fill this with meat, cheese, protein for my hubby because he burns a lot of energy. Got to give him some calories so he doesn't waste away to nothing. So you adjust it to how your family likes. So let's turn this down. I'm going to turn it down to low. And I think maybe I can cut this up now. You know what? I'm going to let this cook for 1 minute. Then I'm going to add my other, my sauces and stuff. Now, like I told you, I do a variation of this because sometimes I will not use the adobo chili peppers. I will use a green chili. You can buy those. And oh, this knife really needs to be sharpened. I'm bad about that. I wait till they're absolutely dull. Note to self, sharpen knives. But yeah, the green, like the green can of green chilies, that tastes great with some cream of chicken soup. That tastes, it's a little bit of a different flavor. Probably should cut these really smaller. You can almost do like a shred. Some of them are a little bit still hot. Yeah, let's cut these smaller. I should have cut those smaller. Because we're making a big batch. I'm hoping to make 8 of them. You can have a couple for supper, supper the next night if you're eating for 2. Have one for lunch. You can have one for breakfast. Couple fried eggs. That's good eating, right? Remember to turn that heat down to low. You don't want your chicken to get too tough. I do have the oven preheating at 375 right now. So it'll be good and hot when I put it in here. All right. And we're going to be filling these enchiladas with this chicken and some cheese. So they're going to be full. But sometimes you'll think, oh, they're not that big. But they really are filling. I'm running out of space. Do I need this plate? I really probably don't. But I'm going to just set it here. Put my silver. Wash my hands real quick. Let me know in the comments what's your favorite enchilada. Is it chicken and cheese? Beef and cheese? You can do steak like a carne asada. That would be good. So I'm just incorporating this nicely. Have all the onions and olives in here. My first, let's do this so I don't forget. So I'm going to put the diced tomatoes in there. These are the fire roasted, a little bit with green chilies in there. Now this is separate from just a can of green chilies because the green chilies is just all green, kind of like a green salsa, right? All right, now let's put in a little bit of our sauce, and then we're going to put in our cream of chicken, which right now you're like, ah! But we'll mix it all good. Mix it together, it'll be all good. And now we can turn our heat up again. You want this nice and creamy, but you don't want it too liquidy. But we're going to be pouring enchilada sauce on top of the tortillas or the enchiladas. So I was telling you, my first exposure to enchilada was in Connecticut, the Northeast. And you're probably saying, girlfriend, you cannot get any good enchiladas in Connecticut. But you can. You can. So I think I might have talked about this place before. It's called Sucasa's. They're not in business anymore. They've been in business for a long, long time. But I don't know why. I tried last time I was in Connecticut, went there, tried to go there. And they weren't open anymore. Sadness. But that was my first exposure to enchiladas. And oh my gosh, I don't know how they made them. I was just a teenager, but they were, to this day, they were my best enchiladas ever I ever had. And I lived in Texas, okay? I lived in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and got a lot of really good Mexican restaurants. And I've tried quite a few places to try their enchiladas. And there's like a certain style that they make that, yeah, I'm not a big fan of them. So look at this. See if I can get a close up. We'll just let that bubble together. And that chicken is going to shred a little bit, and that's fine. That's what we want. Now, doesn't that look good? All right, so let's let that bubble up, and then I'm going to put it on low while, you know what, I'm going to turn it off because really this point doesn't matter. I got it all incorporated. So now let's move on to the next step. Let me get this a little organized, and we'll get the tortillas out and we'll prep them. Now we're going to go ahead and put together these enchiladas. So I'm going to take some of my enchilada sauce. I'm going to take about maybe 1 or 2 ladles and cover the bottom. And let me set that aside for a moment. So that's kind of how it looks. It's just covered. A little depth to it, but not much. So I'm going to set those as well. I need to, yeah, let's put this over here. Now, this is going to make a big mess. And one way you can combat the mess is you could use some parchment paper. And that's what I'm going to use today. So it's not going to be as messy. I mean, still messy, but cleanup will be a little bit easier. So let me show you what I do now, this technique. And I can't even remember where I learned this. Probably on some cooking show back in the day. I don't know. So I'm going to take, let's just mix this other sauce that I kind of had. I'm going to put it all together. And different brands. This one particular brand is definitely redder. And you got to pick the brand you like because really the enchilada sauce makes a huge difference. So I just put a little scoop of it on the plate. And I take my tortilla and I coat both sides. And you probably could coat one. I think the last few times I did, but I'll just show you can do it that way. Or you can just coat one side because we are going to cover the other side with enchilada sauce. But so yeah, I'll do it for just this one. Or these two. I think this step makes a big difference. One way I've done it is slightly fried these on the stove top and then put it in the sauce. I have done that a few times. It tastes great. It is a lot of extra work. So these are pretty much, this one is really, really tastes delicious. So it's like, I feel like I didn't need really to do that step. But if you're feeling ambitious, go ahead. So here's my whole package. It's like 8 ounces of queso fresco. And this is about a pound of mixed cheddar cheese, like a Mexican cheese. And there's 8 ounces of a shredded cheddar in there. And I've got that mixture. All right, so we're going to take right near the end, like you're going to leave like a quarter of it here. Put some of your topping, or your filling, sorry, not your topping. Put some of your filling in there. Now this is hot, so be careful. And take some of your cheese. Probably your first few is going to be a little messy. Now we want to put a little of this cheese, but we're going to save at least half of it for the topping, top off these enchiladas. So this is where it gets real messy. You're going to be washing your hands a lot, but if you can see, I kind of, with my hands slightly, push that to the end, and then I just roll it up. And I'll try to do a couple close-ups of this. I just guide it with my hand and roll it up. I don't got to wash my hands, because if I try to pick up the baking casserole dish, I might drop because my hands are wet and slippery. Just slide down my paper a little bit. Let's see if I can get a little closer with that. And then I just take my enchiladas, and you're going to decide what way you're going to put it. So we're just going to repeat that process. I'm going to be very careful not to. I'm going to put this on the table. And let's roll up some more. I'm going to put another scoop of my enchilada sauce. Let's bring these over here. Just dip it in here. Your utensils are going to get quite messy. Oh, I ripped one. Oh, well. I only have 8 here. All right. Set that aside. Let's fill. If you have a long counter, you could do a few at a time. That would be great. It would save you so much time. I wish I had a large counter. I missed that. You could put black beans in here too for a variation. Or you can make some refried beans to serve with this, right? It's classic. We've got 4 to finish. See how much nicer, isn't it much nicer to have this mess on your parchment instead of on your counter? You could do it on a plate too if you had a really large plate. All right. Filling. And you have leftover filling, you can eat that with some rice. This should be better. I had to clear some storage on my camera. I did not realize, I thought I had last night cleared off some, and I didn't. I kind of partially did, but I didn't trash it, if you know what I mean. So we got this one little bit left, 2 left. We're going to put this in the 375 degree oven for, and we got plenty on here, right? We can use that, for about 35 minutes. Like I said, I'm going to serve it with rice. Let's just use that. All right. And you see I'm going to have some filling left. Wish I had a bigger pack. I could have made, probably could make like 3 more here. But some of the cheese, I want to save some of this cheese for the top too. But we want our filling to be really cheesy. I find sometimes at the end I get more be a little more generous because it's like, oh, I still have a lot of toppings. Push it to the end and roll. Let's see if we can squeeze it in here. Yep. Gotta let me know if you try these. Because I think you'll like to put these on your meal rotation. See how they're nice and that one's a little bigger. Let's put that on near end. So we've got this right full. This is going to be easy cleanup. Let me wash my hands. I'm going to get some pictures of this. Don't want to forget that. All right. Let's just put this. How easy is that cleanup? That part of it, right? Wonderful. All right. So now we're going to get a pan because these are going to be heavy. And you can put aluminum foil on there if you don't want to clean up a mess of it splattering. So I've got about a half a can of sauce left, and I'm gonna coat these nicely because it'll soak up. And especially the ends can get a little bit hard and crispy, and that's okay. I mean, not gonna really hurt it. So we've got our cheddar cheese. Let's sprinkle some on this top. And you even have a little leftover. You can have a little bit of this for like a taco salad or an enchilada salad. Have a little bit of the mixture. Put some shredded romaine or iceberg lettuce, a little fresh tomato, some cheese. There you go. This is going to be cheesy and delicious. And you can see why you probably only really need one. I mean, men, yeah, they got a bigger appetite rate than us women. So my husband will definitely have two. But when you have all your other sides to it. And nowadays, I think we like to cook sides that we know our family are going to eat. So, you know what? That's a little bit. I'm just going to put it on here. All right. This is how it looks. And it's going to look more amazing once we bake it. All right. Getting these in the oven. Let's set the timer. 35 minutes. And we'll see you back. Let's take the enchiladas out of the oven. They have been in there about 40 minutes because I got doing things and I just let them sit a little bit longer. Optimal is really 35 minutes because you get a little crusty in the ends, but that's okay. It still will taste wonderful. So let's get a close-up of these. These have to cool down before we taste test them for sure. I might let them cool down and reheat mine later tonight because it's still early afternoon and I just had to get these done because I had a busy day today. So let's get a close-up and I hope you really try this recipe. I think you're going to love it. Let's get some close-ups. Oh my goodness, friends. I've just microwaved to my enchiladas to reheat because it is supper time. And let me tell you, these turned out, they looked great. I can't wait to try it. So what I made for side dishes, a little bit of rice. I didn't do anything fancy with it. Just put a little bit of butter in there. And I'm just going to use a little bit. Now this is one enchilada cut in half. So you can see why I'm saying, some if you have small littles, they might only want a half of one because that's huge, right? That's one enchilada. So I didn't have any more refried beans. I was in the mood. So I took black beans, put a little bit of uh, coconut oil and a little bit of bacon fat, just about a teaspoon to kind of give it a little bit of flavor. And I've got some cut up uh, romaine and some tomatoes. I think I'll put that there. I do have avocados, but they're not ripe yet. So I've got a little bit of onion, tomato. This is going to be fine. And that'll bring down that heat. We might have some heat, remember, in the enchiladas. Let's get a little sour cream. My mouth is watering just thinking about it. Let's just put that on the side. Now, is this a supper or what? I got plenty of sour cream there because I have a feeling it might be a little bit too spicy for me. So I need to tone it down. Is that pretty or what? So let's try it. I put it in the microwave for like 2.5 minutes and should be warm enough and hopefully I don't burn myself. So I'll just go in for it. Go in for the enchilada. Mm-hmm. Mm, that is so good. Mm-mm-mm. A little spiciness there, just a little bit. Get some of the refried beans. Mm-mm-mm. Hallelujah. That is some good dish. So I hope you enjoyed this enchilada recipe that I'm sharing with you. You gotta try it, friend. You got to try it and let me know. And I want to see pictures. I want to see evidence. Um, when you try this technique of soaking, I don't know what it is, but you're soaking in all that goodness. I mean, you pour the sauce on. How I used to make it is I poured the sauce on all the enchiladas, put a little sauce in the bottom, put the enchiladas, put that, I don't know, but it's magnificent. Mm-mm-mm. It's so good. So, hey, we'll catch you next time. Go ahead and follow me if you haven't already. And you can get to see all my latest video. I do everyday meals. I do meal prep. I do videos on special occasions, holidays, and I like to make uh, theme meals, theme parties with my cooking. So, some good yummies.